Hi, my name is Jessica Suzanne Porter. I was born on June 25th, 1999 in Evansville, Indiana at St. Mary's Hospital. I'm a first year at Butler University, getting my degree in secondary education with a concentration in social studies. Today, I'm going to take you through my development as a person throughout the years.
I would like to start off with my socio-emotional development. What I believe to be the main factors that have shaped me are my family and playing softball. Since family comes first, I'll introduce them. My parents' names are John and Michelle, and they've been married for about 25 years. They have 3 kids, which includes Ben, Joe, and myself. Ben and Joe are my 2 older brothers, who are 6 and 4 years older than me, respectively. Growing up with 2 older brothers has definitely shaped my emotions and how I have socialized. They've taught me how to work with others and show respect towards others' feelings and space. They also taught me how to become my own person and in turn support other people's interests that I may not find engaging. My parents brought up how my brothers, cousins, and I would play Army and how my interest started to dwindle away from it but it carried on through my brother's life, where one is currently joining the Army and the other is thinking about working for the Navy. Even though it's not my cup of tea, I know they will do well. My parents have also shaped my personality. My mom recalls always telling me to follow the golden rule, which is to treat others as you want to be treated. I especially remember hearing this in kindergarten and thinking, well, if I took Sarah's Skittles, would I like if she took mine? Another lesson that my parents have taught me is that there's a time to take things seriously, but there's also a time to enjoy life. I mainly learned this through my dad and sports, especially softball. This goes into the second factor that has influenced me, my social-emotional development, which is playing softball. Starting in first grade, I began to play out in Van Park for a recreational league, then playing travel softball, and then going on playing for 4 years in high school. Believe it or not, I was relatively a more reserved, quieter kid, and being with varied groups of girls really helped me blossom and become more social. It taught me how to cooperate with different personalities and look at the positive side to situations. Continuing from what my parents taught me, softball is all in all just a game. I learned not to define my whole self on one bad game, and that I'm more than one bad throw. I learned that I should enjoy things I do in life. My dad will always say to me before every game, remember 2 things. Don't choke the chicken, which means not to grip the bat too tightly, and have fun. This mindset has gone far with me. This sport has also taught me how to deal with failure and learning from mistakes. I have made many mistakes and lost a lot of games during my 12 years. My parents recall seeing me react to stress better and bouncing back quicker from bloopers, whether on or off the field. With this, I've learned perseverance and focusing on the moment. This attitude carried my high school team and I to becoming runner-up in semi-state my senior year, which the program hasn't achieved in 14 years. It has also led me to a broken tooth. Overall, my family and softball have created the way I approach problems, deal with stress, and socialize with others. The next area of development I'll be touching on is language. My parents recall a funny story of me starting to learn English in sentences. We had this electronic singing fish, which would animate whenever it sensed movement. I happened to pass it, it started to sing, and I started screaming, bish, bish, with a B instead of fish with the F in fear of it. My mom then noticed I spoke words with a lot of emphasis as a younger kid, like everything had a great importance to me. When I was younger, I learned a lot through the TV show Barney, by singing the songs and repeating what Barney said. With my mom being an English major, she showed me the importance of reading. My first chapter book was from the Magic Treehouse series. I remember being so proud of myself, and my mom was too. I later on moved to Judy Moody and other series. I recall doing a great deal of reading in 3rd grade due to AR reading. Since we had to read a certain number of pages, it motivated me to read more and find a liking for books. However, since I was born in the start of technology age, I received much of my information through short sentences and bullet points. During this time, I lost my passion for reading for fun. I have noticed that I speak in shorter, information-filled sentences, while my mom will take her time to think of what to say since all she did when she was younger was reading books. Even though I did read books and learn from my parents, environmental factors such as technology affected my language development. The next area I will touch on is my development as a learner. To look back and see how I became the student I am today, it really goes back to the types of teachers I had. Luckily, I had supportive, genuine teachers that made me excited about school, especially my 7th grade science teacher, Mrs. Anderson, from my middle school. She always had a smile on her face and truly enjoyed her job. She always let you know when you were doing well and was willing to take the time to make sure you understood the lesson. She helped develop my sense of being curious for what I did not know. Through her class and other elementary or middle school classes, I realized I am much more of a hands-on and visual learner. Luckily, my teachers assigned projects that required to be hands-on and the use of pictures. One project included making a replica of an animal cell out of jello and other materials, and it helped me so much with my test because I could think of where I put the nucleus and other organelles. My development as a learner greatly has to do with the fact of having great, passionate teachers throughout my education. The next area of development I'll be talking about is my cognitive development. It really goes back to being the youngest in my family. Since the gap between my brothers and I is larger than between my two brothers, there was a prominent gap of maturity. As my parents would say, I started to talk older than my age to feel included with my brothers. They never really talked my age, so I was frustrated not knowing what they were discussing and trying to make up for it. With this struggle to think older, I learned to think more reasonably to feel equal. This meant I never really got into playing pretend or having an imaginary world. Once my brother stopped playing Harmony, I stopped playing. With this being said, my mom talked about how I always thought of new ways to think and never really clung on to old ways. This led to have the ability to adapt quickly to new situations or ideas and always liking to have change throughout my life. My favorite color constantly shifts. Right now it's yellow. Moving on to the next area of development, which is environmental factors. When asking my parents on which environments have affected me, they responded with the garden school. This place was my half daycare, half preschool home. My mom said during this time it was a fad to put your kids in a preschool that have already acted as an actual school. However, my parents were busy with two other kids, so they plopped me in a passive, relaxed daycare. The garden school started me off with a positive, relaxed feeling for education that helped me ease into school. Another factor that influenced me was where my house resides. I live out in Bluegrass Wildlife Reserve, which is frankly in the middle of nowhere. So I never really had any neighborhood friends and did miss out on some social events due to driving situations. This, however, made me into an easygoing person and I know that people will still remember me even though I'm not there. It also allowed me to grow closer with my brother since they were in the same boat as me. The last area of development is my sense of morals. To my parents, the development of my morals was their central focus when raising their kids. They wanted to make sure that my sense of love, family, respect, and seeing every person as a human was concrete. They did not stress as much on sports or other temporary things, which in turn allowed me to have the freedom to explore my interests. Since my family is religious, a lot of my morals stem from it. As I said before, my mom really implanted the importance of the golden rule. Without the factors of my family and religion, I would totally be a different person. When I look at the areas listed, I've realized that my history matches up with the Reggio theory. The garden school and my parents' relaxed nature allowed me to discover the appeal of learning, which is like the theory where kids direct the teachers and explore their interests. My brother had the opposite experience in his earlier years, which led him to not fully enjoying the experience of school. I want to put into practice that kids should still be kids whenever they are younger. However, unlike the Reggio theory, I would put stress on reading and writing as well. If my parents forced all these different interests upon me, I most likely would have pushed it all away and not love what I love today. Thank you for listening for what I have to say, and I hope you have a great day.